Hey, my Liptons. I wanted to do a quick video review about this Dark Side of the Ring Bash at the Beach episode that just came out. This episode was mostly about, obviously WCW, the creative at the time, the people that were in charge, and what happened. It was probably one of the big disasters that occurred within the wrestling business. I'm just gonna say this, y'all, just to get it right off the bat. I feel like there are no good people within this episode, okay? No one came off good. No one came off great, except for Jeff Jarrett. Other than that, Vince Russo, Eric Bischoff, Dave Meltzer, Lance Storm, all of them. I felt like none of them, to me, came off looking like the baby faces. Each and every one of them came off looking like heels. And to me, and I think that, unfortunately, Jeff Jarrett got strays out of this unfortunate political situation that happened during the Bash at the Beach. Now, just to give a quickly, because I don't want to take too long, but to give a quick backstory, Vince Russo, he left WWF, came to WCW. He was, writing for WCW at the time. Eric Bischoff wasn't there at the time, and then they ended up bringing him back in, and then Eric Bischoff claims that he was overseeing Vince Russo's creative. And, right away, Eric Bischoff and Vince Russo, they didn't get along. It was just it was like oil and water. It wasn't clicking, they were trying to do some creative ideals. They were trying to do something different, but, none of it was sticking. WCW was just going down the drain around, 1999, 2000. So Hulk Hogan, he's in WCW too, honestly, really think about it, Hulk Hogan, his time there, the NWO, it revived WCW for a short amount of time. But I think that, Hulk was starting to lose his steam, and people were starting to get a little bit tired of him. They're like, okay, it's like, you did the bad guy route, we got it. What's next? And with Vince Russo, he was someone that wanted to push the younger talent. It's the same thing that he did it in at the time when he was writing for WWF. It was the younger talent that got over, Stone Cold Steve Austin, The Rock, Triple H, so other, I'm blanking on their names right now, but other people. And I'm not saying everybody was young around that time, because some people were in their 40s, the Undertaker, or Kane, whatever. But they wanted some new blood to get over. And in WCW, they had Hulk Hogan, they had the Macho Man, they had Ric Flair, they had, Scott Hall, Kevin Nash. So it's these are people that have been in the industry at this point for probably at that point, I think probably 20 years, maybe. 15 to 20 years at that point. So Vince was trying to push the younger talent. Eric Bischoff was more so dependent on the older talent. They tried to do something there. And then fast forward to going to Bash at the Beach. So Vince Russo, he was, talking to the creative team, and then he was saying to them, listen, who do you guys want to win the World Heavyweight Championship next? We need a new champion. Because at the time, Jeff Jarrett was the champion. So everybody at the creative team was like, oh, we want to give it to Booker T, because Booker T right now, he's getting a lot of steam. The audience is really feeling him. So let's put the championship around him. So Vince Russo was like, okay, bet, let me talk to Hulk Hogan. I'm going to tell Hulk Hogan, listen, you're going to have to go against Jeff Jarrett, fight it out. But at the end, you're going to lose to Jeff Jarrett. And then Jeff Jarrett will then go on to wrestle Booker T, and Booker T will win the World Heavyweight Championship. So, according to what Vince Russo said, he said that when he brought that idea up to Hulk, the first storyline, or the first match that Vince Russo brought up, Hulk Hogan didn't want it. The second one, Vince booked him to look really strong and everything like that, and then Hulk Hogan agreed. But Vince also made it apparent, he was like, listen, but you're still losing the belt, like you're not winning that night. And Hulk Hogan agreed. So then apparently Hulk Hogan went to go and, go to his old buddy, Eric Bischoff. And I'm going to talk about Eric Bischoff a little bit towards the end of this video. He went to Eric Bischoff. And Eric Bischoff and Hulk Hogan, they're cool. So mind you, just a reminder, Eric Bischoff had to foresee Vince Russo's creative. So they called Vince Russo into the office, Hogan and Bischoff, and he was basically like, listen, we're not doing that. We want to do another plan. We're going to make sure that Hulk Hogan actually wins. And then we're going to do a tournament. And then da-da-da-da. It's like a whole thing. And then Vince Russo was just like, wait a minute. Hulk, like I just told you what our plan was going to be. And you agreed to it. And then now here you go behind my back. You go to Eric Bischoff. And then you're telling him like, oh no, let's do a different thing where I win the World Heavyweight Championship. And mind you, at this point, Hulk Hogan has nothing to prove at this point. This man is already a legend. So in a way, you're like, Hulk, like you mean to tell me you can't do this? You can't lose a match? Like you can't do this one thing? So in a way, it was kind of like, girl, you're being mad, like selfish. So that was that. And apparently, and it wasn't known to us until towards the end of the episode, but apparently, there was another plan in the works. So according to what Russo said, Russo said that he then went over another plan with Bischoff and Hulk Hogan, that instead of that, let's just have Jeff Jarrett lay out on the mat and let just Hulk Hogan take the win, cut little promo and go on about our business. It'll have the audience shocked, basically. Russo claims that was the other suggestion. According to Eric Bischoff claims that wasn't true, that Vince Russo is a liar, that Vince Russo just wants to make himself look good. He wants to make himself get over, blah, 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 blah. Personally, for me, and I have to be honest, it is no shade. And I like Eric Bischoff. I do. I like Eric Bischoff. I do watch his podcast here and there. But even in Eric Bischoff's 83 Weeks podcast, y'all, Eric Bischoff tends to cover a lot for Hulk Hogan. In a way, Eric Bischoff is a Hulk Hogan mark. and listen, there's nothing wrong with that. In some ways, a lot of people are Hulk Hogan marks. It's like, we love Hulk Hogan. Like, it's like, he was one of the most popular, talents in the wrestling business. So, of course, like, he's a legend. But I do feel like even when Hulk Hogan is wrong, Eric Bischoff will always defend him. He will always try to cover for him. He will always try to, cover his tracks, because I feel like, unfortunately, and it's no shade, Hulk Hogan, especially in recent times, has not been looked at in a good light, just in the public, because of like a lot of things that have happened over the years with the sex tape and the racism and that sort of thing. So I think that Eric Bischoff really sees Hulk Hogan as just trying to protect his legacy. So it's like, even when Hulk Hogan is wrong, Eric Bischoff would defend him, So I just think that he's just doing that just to be like trying to protect Hulk. But it's just like, I don't know. To me personally, Eric and Vince do come off convincing in some ways, but then towards the part where it's like, it came to the part where they went to Hulk Hogan sued WCW and Vince McMahon. Oh my God, Vince McMahon, Vince Russo. I was just like, in the way Hulk Hogan, the way that Eric Bischoff was coming off when he was giving his commentary for that part, I was like, some of his comments, because it's like, he kind of in a way dismissed the way that Hulk Hogan got his lawsuit dismissed at the Georgia courts, because he was like, oh no, it didn't go to 2 judges. It's just like, Eric, at the end of the day, the judge decided that this lawsuit was going to get thrown out because it was a television show, it was entertainment, and he was cutting a promo against Hulk Hogan, not Terry Bollea. So in a way, I kind of look at Eric Bischoff a little different for that. So in some ways, I do feel like I can't really take Eric Bischoff's word as truth, because at this point, Eric Bischoff is willing to cover all of Hulk Hogan's dirt. And I think that, unfortunately, like, it's unfortunate because it's like Eric Bischoff comes off as a Hulk Hogan mark. He does. In this episode. It's like, at the end of the day, let Hulk Hogan hold his own nuts. Let Hulk Hogan defend himself. Why do you always got to be there to defend him? And this is not for me to say that I also don't think that Vince Russo also deserves some criticism, because I feel like, in the way they really should have thought of Jeff Jarrett. It's like, let's say, for instance, like, yes, it is true, like, Hulk Hogan, Eric Bischoff, Vince Russo all came up with the plan to force Jeff Jarrett to lay down without getting hit, without nothing, and let Hulk Hogan take that win. I feel like that does a disservice to Jeff Jarrett. It was wrong. And at the end of the day, Jeff Jarrett, and whether you could say that, Jeff Jarrett really came off as a victim and blah, 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 but in a way, he is a victim in this episode, because it was really, really trash what they did to him. And to me, I thought that, Jeff Jarrett wasn't taken under consideration when it came to those plans and that creative. And speaking of creative, and this is why WCW is no longer in business, because, Hulk Hogan, and not just Hulk Hogan, but many other wrestlers, but like, they gave Hulk Hogan full creative control ever since they signed him back in, 1995 and 1994 or something? So it's like, y'all gave this wrestler full creative control. What do y'all think was going to happen? Y'all didn't think that Hulk Hogan was going to take advantage of that and use it to his advantage? You know what I mean? So it's like, in some ways, Vince Russo or Eric Bischoff, whether they wanted to tell Hulk Hogan no, yes, whatever, it was always going to go Hulk Hogan's way, because at the end of the day, Hulk Hogan was always going to go over whether we liked it or not. And I think that, in a way, during this lawsuit thing, in a way, it didn't make sense. Like, and Vince Russo did bring up a point. He was like, when he cut that promo after, after Jeff Jarrett laid down and everything like that, and Vince Russo cut that promo, Vince said in the Dark Side of the Ring, he was like, listen, you mean to tell me this thing was quote unquote a shoot? If it was so much of a shoot, why didn't Hulk Hogan wait for me backstage and come and beat my ass? If it was a shoot. Also, another thing, Eric Bischoff even said it in the Dark Side of the Ring. He was like, oh yeah, after, Jeff Jarrett laid down there and took the L, and we went back on the plane and stuff, Hulk Hogan was happy, we were drinking, da da da, and I was just like, but wasn't he just upset at the finish and everything that just happened? So why are you happy and drinking and doing all that? So to me, it does kind of look like you guys, Eric Bischoff, Hulk Hogan, Vince Russo planned this shit out. So I don't know. To me, in this episode, I'm kind of leaning towards Vince, even though I think that Vince was, even like, to me, as far as like the creative part of it during the Bash on the Beach, I think that it was wrong for what they did to Jeff Jarrett. But like, to me, I'm starting to feel like I kind of believe Vince more than I believe Eric Bischoff, because it's not lining up. It's not lining up. And of course, people are gonna, they do the personal attack with he's a pathological liar. And here's another thing too that kind of aggravated me in this episode. First of all, what was Lance Storm's purpose in this episode? What was his purpose? Like, why was he even there? Two, Dave Meltzer had the audacity to say, oh, yeah, well, Vince Russo and Eric Bischoff are both dishonest people, so we really can't take none of their words. We really can't take their word as bond. And I'm like, Dave Meltzer, are you talking right now? Are you the one talking right now? You're talking about dishonesty when you're one of the most biased, dishonest people out here? Because he's not a journalist. At the end of the day, Dave Meltzer is a gossip monger. Point blank, period. He's a gossip monger. So even his word is not. That's the thing. Y'all all dishonest at this point. Y'all all are dishonest. So I feel like, to me, that was such a stupid comment. And in a way, Dave Meltzer was also unnecessary for this. I feel like for this episode, they should have got Vince Russo, Eric Bischoff. They could have at least got Booker T as well. Booker T, obviously Jeff Jarrett, we need some other people. I feel like Lance Storm and Dave Meltzer were very unnecessary for this episode because I feel like they added nothing to this. You know, and another thing that I hate, and I get it. People have their things with Vince Russo because y'all be listening to Jim Cornette and everything. You know, Dave Meltzer claims that, you know, Vince Russo caused more harm to the wrestling business. And it's like, Dave Meltzer, you write newsletters every single day, writing bullshit, gossip mongering, saying a lot of things that are not true. You don't think that's causing harm to the wrestling business? You don't think that's causing harm to the wrestling business? So it's like, and plus the wrestling business, the wrestling business didn't get to where it is now because of Vince Russo. At the end of the day, I feel like we really need to stop doing this blame game and look at everything as a collective. You know what I mean? Because if that's the case, then we can also claim that Eric Bischoff and Hulk Hogan killed TNA. If we're gonna do the blame game, we need to do the blame game. We can say that Vince McMahon killed WWE, which is kind of true. You know, he hemorrhaged all the fans and everything like that. Also, I'm hearing that Vince McMahon got his house raided by the FBI, but that's a whole other video that I need to do. You know, we could say, you know, now the way the WWE is now is that Vince McMahon is the one that ruined the WWE. He bastardized the business. We could say Eric Bischoff and Hulk Hogan killed TNA. Along with Dixie Carter too, because Dixie Carter was a dummy in some ways. So it's like, there's a lot of blame to go around for why the wrestling business is where it is today. And I think that I hate that it's always that, oh, let's just dump it all on Vince Russo, when it's like, as if Vince Russo didn't bring some of the biggest ladies in the WWF. Along with Ed Ferrara, obviously, but because, you know, we got to give credit where credit's due. So, but like, yeah, that's just that. I just feel like Hulk, and don't get me wrong, this might be my last thing before I go, because I'm getting kind of tired. But here's the thing about Hulk Hogan. And in some ways, I understand Hulk Hogan. In some ways, because I feel like Hulk Hogan did things. He was political in order to protect his character. He did it to protect his character. He did it to make money. He did it to become the champion. And at the end of the day, a wrestler should always be somewhat selfish. Somewhat. You do have to be selfish. You do have to play a little bit of politics. You do have to want to better yourself. Because at the end of the day, especially in the business during that time, it's every man for himself. So I understand why Hulk was the way that he was. But at the same time, Hulk Hogan definitely, he definitely has his asshole-ish ways and his asshole-ish behavior. And I think that now, you know, the chickens really came home to roost when it comes to Hulk Hogan and the way he has did people and the way how he acted when he was in the business. Well, he's still in the business, but like when he was an active wrestler and everything like that. So, you know, I think there comes a time and place where it's like, yes, be selfish, but there are times where you need to dial it back a little bit and let other people get over, you know? And I think Hulk Hogan, especially during this time, it's like in 2000, it's like, Hulk, what else do you have to prove? Like, you're already a legend. You won all the championships. It's like, lay your ass fucking down and let Jeff Jarrett win the championship. Like, girl. Either way. That's just my thoughts on that, y'all. I don't know. Eric Bischoff kind of annoyed me in this episode because I feel like, and I like Eric, but Eric, it's like he stays caping, like he stays being like a Captain Save-A-Hole for Hulk Hogan. It kind of gets annoying at a certain point. But I don't know. I don't think there was any heroes in this story except for, I mean, the only victim in this story was Jeff Jarrett, and that was it. Other than that, I feel like, you know, Eric, Vince, Dave, I don't know why Dave was in this episode, but like last one, I don't know why he was in this episode as well, just maybe just to shit on Vince Russo. But it's like, were you even at Bash at the Beach? Like, I just think that this episode was just an episode full of stubborn, hard-headed politicians in the wrestling business. That's it. That's all. Anyway, please like, comment, and subscribe. Let's get that to 500 subscribers. We're almost there. Let's get that to 500 subscribers. And I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.